What's up, everyone? Happy New Year. Hope everyone's doing good. Haven't done a video in a while, but it's been a rough couple of months, but got through the new year and looking forward to seeing what we're going to do in the next year. That being said, back on my Mesmers. I was lucky my birthday weekend just passed, and my wife hooked me up with the new John Bellino black plates, which I needed desperately because I had a giant hole in my sole plates. I also got a full set of the Dominic Bruce wheels off of his Pro Skate, with the 95A in the middle, the 90A in the outside, because I love that little rocker that it gets after a while. But yeah, rotated my frames, which I just flipped them. This is what my frames look like before, my natural Royale side and my Soul side. So now they're fresh. So I feel like it's as close to a brand new skate as it's gonna get right now, and it's gonna be fucking dope to feel that feeling again. It's been a while, about a year. But I love my Mesmers. I don't really want to skate anything else. I love black and white setups. The graphics on the bottom kind of remind me of like whiteout tags. I come from a graffiti background, but like, yeah, like whiteout tags on dark surfaces. That's definitely what that reminds me of. So shout out to Mesmer for giving those vibes. I don't know if it was intentional, but I know you got a lot of graffiti in your marketing, and it's hard to not think that that was somewhat intentional. But correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, I think they look dope. I think the setup's clean. Looking forward to the new skate feeling. And yeah, one thing I can honestly say I'm really excited to do is I come from a predominantly street skating background, so I really don't like fresh grooves like on brand new skates. I really enjoy breaking them in on like the shittiest, crunchiest ledge I could find. So I do plan to do that, which is that brick ledge that you see me skate. If you follow me on Instagram, I'm skating all the time. It's close to my house. It's not the best ledge in the world, but it's great to like practice and just get technique down. So when you go do skate good spots or longer sessions, you know, you're prepared. But I really love breaking in my grooves here. And I was really contemplating rotating my frames because I was really liking where my groove was getting originally. But my philosophy is that fresh plates, fresh frame, you know, break it in at the same time, everything's going to line up perfect and break in together, which is going to be a better experience for me. And again, like I love breaking them in and putting them through the torture for that first session, just probably Royale and back Royale all day. But, you know, that's the only way you're going to achieve. I mean, I don't have the best groove in the world, but there's my old plates right here. If you run your finger and you feel the dip, when you lock into your Royales and your groove is broken in, it's the best feeling in the world. Like fresh grooves, sometimes, you know, out the box skates have good grooves, but like there's nothing like when it's your groove and it's the way you're locking in all the time and you just can sit in it and ride it out. Like that's one of the best feelings in the world because it makes it a lot more fun and a lot more easy to like play with. You're a lot more confident on it, and it looks better. You look more comfortable, and to me, you know, style is everything. So if the trick feels good, it's probably gonna look good. While we're on the topic of Mesmer, they just dropped their Mesmer NYC Volume 1 edit, and I was looking forward to that because I grew up in New York skating street, and I love seeing people tear up the same spots I grew up skating, and it's always dope to see what people are doing and fresh new tricks on it. And they just destroyed the battery ledges in the beginning of the edit, and to me that's what stands out the most. Shout out to the whole team that did their thing. But like the clips that you guys got on the battery park ledges to me meant a lot to see that because I loved skating those ledges and I felt that no one liked them in the era that I grew up, and that everyone kind of like avoided going to that spot for whatever reason or felt like it was stupid. But I always loved skating them, and I felt like it was really neglected in terms of like being filmed and what can be done on those ledges. So it was dope to see the team kill it. Same thing with pyramid ledges downtown. Like there was some tricks on there that I would have never thought of doing, and some creativity that I would have never thought of, and it was dope to see that. You know, skating as long as I have, and especially seeing those spots being skated for even before I started skating, it's just sick to see new shit being done on that. So shout out to everyone on Mesmer. Love what you're doing. Keep putting out good shit, and looking forward to see what's next. One thing that I did set for myself this year is I set some trick goals about a week ago. I posted them on Instagram. it's in no means a trick list for a session. Like it's just like a collection of tricks that at that moment I was thinking of that I really wanted to either dial in or do for the first time, or for the first time in however long it's been. And that came from a process that I'm trying to like drill into myself. You know, growing up, there was a lot of like set standards of what's good, what's not good, what's cool, what's not cool, how to do things. And like, I always saw it as, you know, there's natural and switch, right foot, left foot. And if you can't do it regular, you shouldn't do it topside. You should learn it the right way. And just a whole bunch of boundaries that, you know, it's great to have that structure, but at the same time, it can be really limiting on yourself, because then you start focusing on things that aren't important. Like one thing that I've brought up recently with a couple of people in social media and everything is like what determines what switch. Because there's tricks that like I do souls on the left hand side, but certain other tricks feel like porn stars feel better on the right hand side. But like growing up, I always felt like, oh well, that's switch because it's on the right hand side. But even though it felt better than doing it on the left hand side, and other tricks like royale tricks, you know, when I do negative mistrial, it's technically, if I was to do it the regular way, not negative, it'd be switch. But I can in no way do negative mistrial the other way, because I predominantly lean on my royale foot, which is my back foot. So like just things like that have made me look at tricks a little differently and try to come up with a new process and a new way to push myself and stop from repeating tricks all the time in sessions. Another thing that I'm starting to change my view on is like warming up at sessions. Like I'm older, so of course, yeah, like you gotta stretch, gotta, you know, warm up your knees and everything, because the littlest thing could blow your knee out or blow, like, just pull something very easily. But like, as far as tricks, like we grew up calling certain tricks called safety tricks. So like, your safety tricks are your go-to tricks that you do that you know there's a low chance of getting hurt on. So that's the first tricks you would try on a new spot, first tricks to try out if something slides or whatever. Like it's your go-to tricks. And I feel like what happens is what I normally do is I'll show up to a session and like basically blow through my safety trick list and make sure I can do all my safety tricks on anything before I start doing anything new. And it's great in a way of, I've always felt it's repetitiveness, so you get more and more comfortable with those tricks. But what I've noticed is you start leaning towards just doing those tricks. And even though you can do other things, your brain is almost like stuck on just that list, because that's the first thing you're going to, and you're just drilling it, drilling it, drilling it, drilling it. And you tend to lean away from trying new tricks or things differently or switch or whatever, because you're just focused on warming up on this spot, and then you tire yourself out and you don't want to try anything new. So I wanted to stop that from happening, because it started to happen and spots started getting boring and everything, and sometimes I can't go out to different spots, I just don't have the time. But one thing I started doing is now every session, instead of warming up, I'll just soul royale, soul trick slide, royale trick slide, and from there just try something new, or what I don't usually do. Lately I've been focusing a lot on like backside royales, because I don't really do a lot of backside royale tricks unless I'm spinning into it or zero spin into it or whatever. I don't feel comfortable jumping in that rotation to do the backside royale, because it's actually my switch spin on the rotation. But I'm trying to break that thought process and really get comfortable with that, and let those be my new warm up tricks. Just warm up with something new. So by the time you're into this halfway into the session, you're comfortable with the trick you weren't comfortable with in the beginning, and you're open to trying something new, because anything coming out of that original trick that was different for you is now going to be a new trick. So I'm trying to put that's a thought process that's just been going around in my head and thrown around, and it's been working out for me the last couple of sessions. Um, so I don't know. Let me know what you think about that. Throw in the comments. Do you agree? Not agree? Any opinions or suggestions? I'm all for it. But yeah, that's what's been going on in my head. One particular trick that I'm super focused on, and I've done maybe a handful of times in my life. I've had friends that do them with ease, and that is 360 topsoul. and it's not the hurricane way. It's not spinning away from the ledge, it's spinning into the ledge, 360 topsail. And specifically I'm doing it on a ledge because let's not get around it that topsides are a lot harder on ledges than it is on a rail. But that's a different conversation. So my thought on learning 360 topsail on myself, this new process that I've been trying to like run through my head is like I can 270 royale, backside royale. That's always been a comfortable trick for me. I just now started getting comfortable with them again, coming back into skating the last couple of years. So that's also a gateway trick to me because the way I look at it is if I can 270 royale comfortably, different spots, don't really overthink it and lock it within first or a couple of tries and get it. 360 topsail is only like a little bit more of shoulder rotation and a little bit more commitment. And I feel like it takes a trick that, is not necessarily common, but like a lot of people can do it. And then it turns that trick into something that not a lot of people can do. And I'm not a person that's really comfortable with topsails, but I really feel like I'm comfortable with that spin and locking onto it through that spin. So I think I can pull it off. So that's something to look forward to. I'm going to probably try to record that and maybe try to lace it in one day, but that let's see what comes of that. And that brings me to the last topic I really wanted to talk about, which was the whole purpose of making this video today. And that's, what is a pro? What is a pro skater? This is something that I've been thinking about, not in terms of like, I am in no way trying to be a pro skater, trying to be sponsored, consider myself at any level anyway at all. But like, I was thinking about it from a point of like the culture and, the future and what the future generations have to look forward to. Me growing up, there was a lot of like competition circuits and different things and different outlets that pro skaters did. I mean, there was rollerblading and Kellogg's commercials. There was Gap sponsored rollerblading, lifestyle condoms sponsored rollerblading. Like, there's so many different types of things going on. Like, we had the Panasonic Shockwave games in New York. There was the NIST competitions. There was X Games, X Trials, B3, like all these things on ESPN. So, like, it was pretty clear on what made you a pro. These days, there's none of that. And everything's pretty much based on popularity, like, in my opinion. There's skill too, but like a lot of it is popularity and like who's been actually putting stuff out these last, half a decade or so. But I think that I was thinking just, that there needs to be a little bit of a standard to what a pro skater is so that the younger generation, like the kids that are like 9 to 17 actually know what they're shooting for if that's what they want, and that there actually be a path for these younger generations to do that, whether we had it or not. I see companies trying to do that, and I see companies keeping that in mind, whether they speak it vocally or not. And you can tell, like, them skates doing certain collaborations and trying to like tie different cultures in. Mesmer doing things with how they are with as a team and like how they're functioning, and how Billy has rollerblading being represented through his brand and everyone else involved. Gods, and how Frankie Morales represents his company. But like, even if you look at all that, there's no real way to determine who's pro, who's am, who's flow. It's kind of just everyone going at it at the same time. So recently I posted on social media the same question, like what makes a pro, and asking people around, and the majority of people who responded to me said that pro is determined whether or not you get paid to do what you love doing, or paid to rollerblade or whatever. And I get that, like, maybe in a world where certain things aren't a factor, but I feel like in today's world that it's hard to determine whether, it's because they get paid, because there's people who get paid off of social media that, are not pro skaters. Whether it's real bonuses, whether it's like monetization stuff that you can, like stores and shops and clothing and Patreon and all that, but like they're getting paid through rollerblading, but that doesn't make them a pro. I want to know what physically makes someone a pro, like their abilities. How are you gonna rate their abilities or stats? That's something that our sport doesn't really have. Our culture doesn't really have. Is like stats, like legit stats, um, or like whether they have a pro product, like pro skates and pro frames, and like I do understand that like I've grown up with friends that gotten pro things and it didn't really do much for their career. Like there's certain people that have gotten pro things that people don't even know they had pro items. Like I've seen dudes that had pro frames that was like you didn't even know who that person was. And today I feel like because of how companies are really grassroots right now, it's really hard to determine who can say who's pro because there's many companies and many people out there that it's like, oh well, this person is pro now. We did this for them, and it's like you've never even heard of the person. It doesn't take away from that person's skill or anything, but like how does that? What was determined the determining factor to make that person pro? And I'm not trying to shit on anybody or anything like that. It's just things that have been going on in my head. And I say that as a parent that has kids that enjoy skating, whether or not they want to do it as a career, that's up to them or anything like that. But like, and having friends that are also parents or like nephews and cousins that are now learning what this is. And like, there's no real thing to shoot for. And those things are being created. I'm seeing things now. This is great. But yeah, it was just a question of like what are those factors? What like is it their style? There's certain skaters that like have this super diverse like trick vocabulary that their style is hideous. Like well in my opinion, like just sloppy or whatever. But they can do all these different technical things. But then there's dudes that can do like 5 tricks and make those 5 tricks look amazing every time they do it and can do it on all these different things and are very diverse in how they skate or what they skate. It may not be their actual trick list, but like what they're skating, their approach is different. So everyone has different tastes. Everyone's entitled to their opinions, but like when it comes to like pro and all that and people's careers, I think there should be something that is set in stone of somewhat of like a ladder to climb. How you climb that ladder is up to you, but like having a ladder to climb, I think is important. And I think that will help the sport grow a lot more. It will help people, like even parents that are getting. I keep saying parents because hey, like we can't just keep catering to us older guys, man. Like if you want to be able to continue to skate, the industry has to grow, and in order for the industry to grow and the sport to grow and the culture to grow, you need to have younger people coming in and doing this. So we have to find ways to bring in these younger generations and like, hey, this is cool, you like it, you have fun doing it, but if you choose to do it as a career, this is how you can do it. There's no reason why there's pros out there that are like forgotten. I don't really know how to say it nicely, but like pretty much just forgotten. And I know it's kind of like a tit for tat thing with the new generation, the older generation, hammers versus tech and all that. But in the end, there really should be something that is going to tell you like, hey, you're going pro. And universally, not just from a brand that is, and shout out to every brand that's hooking people up and trying to push people and just trying to support people. Keep doing that. But in the end, there still has to be a universal like decision on like, all right, this is you're now a pro. Whether it's a competition series, how ASA used to do it, or like IMYTA type stuff. If that decides to come back and people start doing street competitions again, it's just curiosity and the discussion. And I really would love to hear people's different opinions on this. So if you do have an opinion on it, please shoot it down in the comments. I would love to hear what you got to say. Like I said, this is just my thoughts and things I do think about because I did grow up with some guys that are pro skaters and pretty well known pro skaters, and I just feel like they deserve so much more. Like I really do. They were superheroes to us growing up, and even if they're the same age as us, but it was just to see some of them do the things that they were doing, and the way they were treated and the way we all treated each other, that was dope. I feel like it was a lot more tight knit community back then, but the internet has a big play in that, and it is what it is. But yeah, like I don't like seeing that people are not getting the recognition they should have when you got things like Tony Hawk, and no disrespect to Tony Hawk or skateboarding or anything, but like everyone knows who Tony Hawk is, like from a fucking video game. But they also know that he did the 900. Like you ask a million people that have played Tony Hawk the game or been around back then, they can be like, yeah, Tony Hawk did the 900. Can't tell you what a 900 is, but he did it. And our argument is always, oh, well, we got guys at 900 off of rails. And it's like, yeah, but who saw it? Like, so that outside view is important. Like the outside and how the public and the outside blading community views us is important because it can be the determining factor in where things go. And it's true. Like we do 900s, or I've seen fucking 12-year-olds do 900s, and it's not to take away because skateboarding and rollerblading is completely different as far as like how the physics works, but like not to take away from anything. But at the same time, it's like there's dudes that have, like Brian Aragon has back Favre 900 out up a rail in the street being pulled by a car. You will never see that on like a random show, or you won't. How come you got like dudes like Rob Dyrdek and stuff that like have these shows on MTV, which is like awesome because it really brought the community into a broader, view. But like then you got dudes that like Shima should be fucking hosting like Fear Factor or something. Like like I know Fear Factor is outdated, but like it's just where I'm going with that. And I just feel like for the future reference, the people who are going to be pushing this and keep pushing it, because there's always going to be people out there pushing the limit, have something to gain, and they're not doing it for nothing. And we all love doing things for the love, but like sometimes people deserve what they have coming to them. Like, even if it is just the right recognition, not just recognition, the right recognition, the proper recognition. And, I think that can go a long way. But yeah, that's it. That's my opinion on that. Like I said, if anyone has anything to say or anything to add, or just shoot it in the comments. I love debating stuff. I love talking about things. I don't think people should be so scared to have certain conversations with people, whether you feel it's going to offend somebody or not. It's just conversation. Things are solved that way. Things are figured out that way. If you're scared to have a conversation with someone, then what are you going to gain? Just your own thoughts. What are you going to do with that? That's one perspective on things. But yeah, I'm going to try to put out as much content as possible this year. I really enjoy doing it. It helps me in a lot of ways that I don't talk about. Skating is also something that I love, that I've come back to. I kind of hate that I stopped for a while, but it just made me love it more when I did come back. But it's definitely something that I have goals and want to keep pushing myself in. And I like to see other people do the same. I really do. Like, I like seeing people progress. It's not, like I said, I love seeing hammers. I'm from that era. Got a mind game tattoo and everything. But, I love seeing that natural progression and people just go for it. Do things you've never done before. And have fun with it. Because we're in a shitty, uptight world right now. So, like, have as much fun as you can. If you got kids, have fun with your kids. But they got to see you being happy too. But yeah, that being said, hope everyone's having a good day. Like, follow, subscribe, everything on all my social medias. And until next time.